Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Charles from the channel Books on Serial. I'm here to bring you a really special author interview today. We have the Saffron A Kent. If you haven't read any of her books, I don't know what you're doing. I think Unrequited has been everywhere. My Darling Arrow, I've seen it everywhere on BookTube. If you want your taboo, dark-ish romance with like a really good amount of steam, I'm surprised you guys haven't checked out this out if you haven't. But Saffron, how are you doing today?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm doing good. I just got my second dose of vaccine, so I am a little out of it. But I'm getting back to myself, so which is good.
I was like, you have to. You have an upcoming release. You can't push it back.
I know, and that's why I planned everything that my draft would be done. It would be with my editor, and that's when I get my second dose, and so I can take a few days off. So on that front, we're doing good. I'm
Okay, good.
happy to report.
I was going to say, I'm like, if I have to find you, if I have to message you on Instagram, you're like, where is your upcoming release? Did you what? You pushed it to 2022? I'm like, okay.
I know, people, someone asked me, "Are you releasing any more Rebels this year?" I was like, "Yes, I am. Please don't give up on me. The next one is coming also." So I feel like people know how slow I can be, and I make them wait, which I feel terrible for. But I don't know. It's just I'm a very slow writer for some
Hey,
reason. But
it's
yeah, well.
fine. You make us wait for the steam, and I was like, Saffron, I'm like, stop with this quasi slow burn. The chemistry is there. What are all these obstacles in the way?
I know. And my heroines are always ready to do it. And my heroes are no. I'm like,
Sorry,
what
let's
are you
wait.
doing,
I was like,
dude?
what is this? I was like,
I
I'm
know.
always hoping okay, let's hope Saffron Kent's book is not going to put me through a slow burn. Let's hope we just get right to it in the
I
beginning.
know. I know. In that sense, a gorgeous villain is sort of different because she gets pregnant, right? I mean, you have to do it to get pregnant. So it happens. But then I don't want to say anything, but yeah, it happens. It happens.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, how did you get into writing romance? Were you always a romance reader, or and you always wanted to be a writer, or how did the journey start?
Well, I have always been a reader. I guess I started with Harry Potter, which was I was in ninth grade or something. My best friend, she lent the book to me, and she was like, "You have to read it, or we can't be friends." I'm like, "I'm not into reading," but anyway, so I started,
Yeah.
and I never looked back. And then I got into romance novels. So I started with Mills and Boons. I don't know if you know, they're
No, I
really
haven't.
old. They are really old. Okay, Mills and Boons, and then all the historical romances like Julia Quinn, Judith
Mhm.
McNaught, Julie Garwood. So that's how I've always been a romance reader, but I never thought that I would write. I
Mhm.
thought that only special people wrote novels. I always thought that. And anyway, so I was actually going to do a PhD in immunology. And that's why, so I was born in India, born and brought up. And that's why I moved to the US to do my PhD in immunology. But I hated it, and I worked in a lab for a few years, and I hated the work. I hated everything
Mhm.
about it, about the lab. I hated the people, I hated the work, and they hated me because I was just not a very good
Mhm.
employee. And anyway, so my boyfriend, who's my husband now, he was the one who said that, if you just hate it so much, why are you doing this? I'm like, well, this is all I trained myself for, right?
Mhm.
But then he's like, well, you should do something that makes you happy. And I knew that reading made me happy. And I wrote a little when I was a kid, very little. But then I had to, I just gave it up. I quit because I was not very interested in it. But anyway, so I took this romance writing class online, which I really loved.
Mhm.
And then I was like, well, I love this. So maybe I should just quit my job, go back to school, and do my MFA in creative writing, which I did. And that was the
Oh.
most amazing 2 years of my life. And I have not looked back, since. So yeah.
Wow. That I didn't would have never known a PhD to immunology to romance writer.
Wow. I was the only one in that program. When everybody would introduce themselves like in class, and they'd be, oh, I've done my undergrad in blah blah blah, and then I was interested in blah blah blah, and that's how I got into writing. And I would be like, well, I have done my undergrad in biotechnology, and I was interested in immunology, but then I figured out that I hated it, so now I'm here. So everybody would be like so interested, and it's like, oh my god, that is so interesting that you did that. I'm like, I don't know, I just hated it so much. I was like, this is my way out, I need to quit. And if I love writing, then I should probably do that. So yeah.
Wow. That
I
is
know.
such a cool story. Because I
Oh
would
yeah.
never guess. Because I don't think in any of your books you had like a sciencey heroine. So like, are you gonna hit us with like some science, like a sciencey nerd, a heroine in one of your books?
I don't know, I don't like science, I'm sorry. But I don't. I mean, that's what I did for most
Hmm.
part of, like major part of my life. But I don't like science, and I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Although my first book, which not a lot of people know about, it's with a publisher, a War Like Ours. That is my first book. The guy is a scientist. So
Oh
that was
yeah, that's
yeah. So the guy,
true.
yes, the guy is a scientist in that.
Okay.
But that's the only science hero that I'm ever gonna. I like artists. So
Hmm.
Thomas was a poet, and now every time I think of a new hero, my first thing is, oh, he's gonna be a poet. But then, oh my gosh, I've done it already,
You
so I
already done
can't.
it.
So, but no, I like artists a lot. So usually my characters are what, outsiders mostly, and sometimes
Hmm.
they're like art, like Callie loves to dance. From my latest book, that's gonna come out in June. And Layla was a poet also because of Thomas, and so I like that, but I don't think I'm ever gonna. I don't like science.
Okay. I was just wondering. I was like, do you have one up your sleeve? And when you mentioned a war like ours, I think that's the title. I read that. I was like, I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like that's your
right?
darkest one,
Yeah. I
but
was actually
it's
going
so
through.
steamy.
I know. I was going through like my Gillian Flynn phase. Do you know Gillian Flynn?
Hmm.
Gone Girl and Dark Places. Oh my God, she's such a brilliant
Oh,
writer. She's such a brilliant writer.
I can see
And
that now that you mentioned that. Like, it definitely
yeah,
has those dark.
I know.
The
So I was
hero
going
gets
through that
dark in that
phase.
one.
So I was going through that phase, and I remember I was doing my MFA at the time when I was writing this novel, and my professor and we had a meeting, and she was like, "Bring your favorite book that you're reading, like latest favorite, and we can discuss why you like it so much and what's going on with it." And so I took with me Sharp Objects. They made it's also a series. They made it on HBO,
Hmm.
and I really like. Oh, what is Sharp Objects? No, sorry, Dark Places. I took Dark Places,
Oh, oh yeah,
and
dark
yeah,
place. Hmm.
yes. So we analyzed the first chapter there, and it was like it's so dark. Like in the first chapter, if I don't know if you read the book, but in the
Hmm.
first chapter, nothing happens. The heroine is just like lying on the bed, and she's watching stuff through the window, and you know so much about her character by her monologue. And I loved
Hmm.
that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I want to write a book like that. But I was also interested in romance, so I had to somehow find that balance. So anyway, so yeah, I was going through my Gillian Flynn phase, and that's why that book is so dark, and it's steamy because, well, I'm a perv, so everything I write is gonna be steamy. So yeah.
Yeah, I read it and I was like, oh wow, this is darker. Like, because I went back and I was like, there's only like 3 books by you I haven't read yet. And I was like,
Right.
that was one of them. So I was like, let me go back and read this one. There's no audio, but like, I trust Saffron, so let me just read it. And I was like,
It's
oh my
dark.
goodness, this is
It's dark.
dark. I was
It
like,
is
it
dark.
was steamy, so I was able to look past all the dark moments. But like, I feel like your books in general. When when a lot of people hear the tagline, they're like, "Oh, that's so taboo." Like you have a student and a professor romance. You have like a heroine dating her best friend's dad,
Oh.
or the bad boy romance. But you handle it in such a nuanced way
Oh,
that
thank
it's like it's not like even in a war like ours, there's a lot of dark issues and a lot of things that could be like shunted and put into the dark romance category, but I feel like you handle it so well that
you.
nothing in your books are for shock value.
Yeah,
It's just
thanks.
a part of the narrative. So I was like, I can't really call you taboo and dark romance because even though you hear the premise like my darling Arrow dating your sister's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend technically, but I was like, even that, I was like, how did she manage to make this like not even taboo? Like Heroine's sister is trash. When you
I
find out the
know.
reason from the
I
beginning, I
know.
was like, I kind of like her. She's just like, no, no, sorry,
No.
we're not sister. We're not sisters. I was like, I wanted
I
to
mean,
ask you, like, would you consider writing a book for the sister in my
sister.
darling era?
Oh wow. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, well, I feel like so all my stories are mostly character driven, right? And I think that's why they don't feel as taboo, like because the characters are making the plot, and
Mm-hmm.
the attraction between them is because of who they are, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think the sister, her character is like I hate her character. I mean, it was fun to write, but I hate her. But I feel like if I did, delve into her, I could find some redeeming qualities for her. But I'm just not. I don't think I'm interested in her. But yeah, I feel like every character has some redeeming qualities. You know. So maybe, but yeah, not right now. But maybe yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to see part two of the drama when the sister is like, oh, you're dating my ex-boyfriend, and then she has a romance with like, I'm about to say a major spoiler, so I'm just the person who is involved in the reason why the hero ends up taking a break from his professional soccer league. I was like,
Yeah.
that's like in my romance brain, I'm like, that's a romance right there.
Yeah.
So it's like I was just eyeing. I was like, okay, who can be some other characters that we can delve into?
No, maybe I could write about the guy. She got involved with. Okay, well, it's a spoiler, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I was about to say, I was about to say, I was like, oh wait, you wouldn't know that if you haven't read it, and it's a big
Yeah,
spoiler.
I
But I
know.
was like, to each their own. But I wanted to talk to you about my favorite. I think probably my favorite book by you is Medicine Man,
Oh, thanks.
and I was like, how in the heck did you pull off that book? Because you have like this dynamic between therapist, I believe, and rehab patient. I was like, and the way you handle it, like I was like, wait. I was like, we're like 50% of the way in the book, and we still haven't gotten any real steam between these two characters. But like, it just like builds so nicely where you kind of dismantle that power dynamic, that power imbalance between those two characters. And it's really the heroine kind of going like, yeah, I want
Yeah,
this.
I wanted
I
to
want
do
to
that.
pursue
I
and do
wanted
this.
to.
And so like where did that idea for that story come to? Because I was like, I think I've never came across a romance that's set in a rehab clinic between that and like the therapist.
I know. So, well, it's like inspired by this. I forget the name. Wait. Life Interrupted. It's a book. They also made a movie. Angelina Jolie is, and I think also Winona Ryder. I'm not sure, but anyway, so it's based on that. And I was like, well, so I was reading that book, and I was like, well, it would be so interesting to have like a bunch of people, in a mental, like in a psych ward, and they're all friends, and they fall for guys, and guys could be anyone. Like guys could be, the nurse, the male nurses, or the doctor. I was like, oh, that would be so taboo. But so I thought that was so interesting. But when I was writing it, it was so hard to write because because it's such a delicate thing. Like he's a doctor, and he's also like in I think it's more taboo than student teacher because she has mental issues and she is very easily influenced, if you think about it. um So yeah, it was very hard to write. But so one thing I was very clear about right from the beginning was like that this girl is going to initiate everything. That the guy is not going to do anything because he's already in the position of power. You know, like he can make her do things. Like your doctor, you trust your doctor, right? So I knew that, and I was like, she has to influence it, and she has to. So she's not very accepting of her illness, right? So I was like, everything romantic would start once she's accepted that she has an illness, and she's accepted that she's here to get better, and only, you know, she can make herself better and no one can do that for her. And that's when everything will start, and that's when it all starts. Like, you know, he's obviously interested in her, but he is very professional toward her. She is the one who's always thinking about him, and you know, but yeah, so that's why I because it's a very delicate thing. And usually I feel like in all the taboo that I write, girls are the ones who are initiating things, because I feel like all the men are either older or they're in a position of power, so they can influence these girls very easily, and it can very easily become very sleazy. And you'd be like, oh, this guy, this, you know, this guy,
this is like this is
yeah,
horrible.
I don't like this. I know, and I don't like that either. I mean, I feel like I write characters. I mean, a lot of people think that my heroines are not very feminist or whatever. So, but I don't think that's true. I feel like even though they're the ones who initiate everything and they're the ones to fall in love first, I feel like they're very brave, you know. And being vulnerable is a brave thing, I feel like. So yeah, that's what I try to do. Like, girls are the ones who are always pursuing, because I try to show that they know their mind, you know, they know who they like. So
Yeah, and it came across so well. Like, I was thinking, like, I was having like my taboo radar on. I'm like, okay, let's see, because the Medicine Man could have gone so awry if like the guy started making the advances on the heroine. I'll be like, okay, but then I was like, wait, like that's the thing that is so amazing about your books is like you start with like an initial like taboo idea, and we flesh it out, and where the characters and the heroine, especially her journey with her coming to accept her mental illness, and that journey, and the hero helps support her, and just finding out the reasons why she landed where she was, and how ashamed of her mental illness that she was, like what led her to it. Because it's not a spoiler, but in the beginning, it's because like a guy broke up with her, and then like that's why that was the reason that she gave her parents. But as you read the book and you find out, it removes that stigma from mental illness that I don't think a lot of romances necessarily touch. A lot of times they tend to, like, if they are a mental illness, sometimes it happens off page. It's not always normally very prevalent and central to the romance. Because I think what you said was amazingly correct. Like, that's what I was like getting like, okay, I was like, Saffron, we are like 50-60% in this book. And like we're still dancing around this, like they have chemistry. Stop making wait. But then like everything that happened afterwards, once they get together, and then the epilogue, I was like, the daughter, I was like, Saffron, I was like, I didn't get that book yet. I think there's a novella.
Yeah, so
right?
It's California Dreaming. It's a small story.
I was like, I wanted to squeeze it in because I wanted to see that story. Because like, okay, how is that gonna work? They're like, and the parents are like, that's my girl. I was like, I love this. I was like, I'm going and thinking like it's gonna be so taboo, but I'm like, nope. This is just a really normal, really well done romance story. So like, I applaud you so much for Medicine Man, because I was just like, and the audio is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, you like it? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can't listen to my books on audio at all. I'm like, I start blushing, so I haven't listened to it, but I hear people like it, and I like the narrators. Like, you know, I listen to their voices for like a little bit, but I can't listen to my own books at all. So I don't.
Your audios are so good. Like, I own all of your books on audio.
You do? Oh,
I do. Thank you. I'm waiting for the second book in the Medicine Man series if it's coming to audio. I was like,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't started the process yet. Something just happened there, and I dropped the ball. But I will. It might come on audio. Yeah, maybe I'll see. But yeah, yeah, I
Just let
dropped
me
the
know
ball
when it
there.
goes live. I probably will read it because I just can't wait. And
Okay.
I'll just re-listen to it on audio because it does change the experience a little
Yeah.
bit audio versus reading. And text to
Yeah.
speech, not to shade people who like it, but I'm like, I can't. It's like a robot. And
I
when
know.
you
No,
get to
I
steamy
listen to
scenes, I'm like,
my.
I can't.
Yeah, no, I listen to my. So when I'm like proofreading, before uploading the manuscript, I do audio proof. So it's like text to speech from Word. No, actually, I have an app, which is the
Oh,
same thing.
okay.
So it's all robotic. So I keep blushing throughout the whole thing, and then I'm like, okay, this is it. I can't listen to my book anymore. So I don't listen to it at all. I don't listen to my audiobooks.
Oh my, but your audios are so good. And I would say the second book, I don't even know if The Medicine Man is my favorite or Bad Boy Blues they're like tied in my eyes because like you gave me a bully romance, but then it's not set in high school. It's like after the fact. And like just like oh, it's a spoiler with what happens with the hero and like why things are so tense between him and his father and why sometimes he was like even to the heroine he's like no you deserve better go somewhere else. So I was wondering where'd you come up with that idea to kind of do a bully romance but do it in a very interesting way because I feel like bully romance usually scream high school. They're all in high school. They all like really act like they're 25, but like they're all in like 16, 17 year
I know,
olds.
I know, and it
But it's
was
like
like,
this
oh
one, they're
my
like
god,
they're
these
adults.
people know everything. Like they know more than me, and I'm 33 years old. But yeah, no, I know.
So it's like what made you kind of think of that story? Because that's like a little bit. I was like, oh, bad boy romance. I was like, wait, high school. This is
I
like
know.
after high school. So I was like, wait, how did that come about? Because I wouldn't even have thought to like set a bully romance like that.
So this all came from this idea that it's like this rich guy, and the heroine, she hates him because they had some like bad history in high school or like whatever. They were in school together, but she hated him, and now he's back, and she's supposed to be his maid. And I love that fantasy, like it's super prevalent in every historical romance. Like the heroine is like the maid, or she's like the tutor, and this guy is the lord of the manor, and and they have this chemistry. So that's where it came from. And I also think bullying is a very, very important topic. I don't like, for some very strange reason, not a lot of people think that it's important, but I feel like every problem that we have in society, like police brutality, you can trace it back to bullying. Like one set of people thinking they can prey on a different set of people who think are weaker than them, or gender inequality or racial inequality. Everything is rooted in bullying. So I feel like bullying is such an important topic, and people don't talk about it at all. Like I feel like it's so less talked about, same as mental illness. So I was like, I wanted to do something with those things. Like, she's a maid, and this guy used to bully her, but I didn't want to. I mean, I don't know. Like that's how it came. But I
Yeah.
didn't want to set it in high school. I wanted to. I wanted them to be more mature,
Mm-hmm.
and like they could sort of like look back on their actions and learn from them. Like, the heroine, she learns also like later on in the story about her actions, and that she wasn't very clear about back when they were happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do that. So that's why no high school.
Okay. I was like, because this is so interesting, because like he's very much held accountable, the hero, for his actions to the heroine throughout most of the novel. And
Yeah.
even he's like, I treated you like garbage. Why do you want to be anywhere
Wait,
with
wait,
me? And like
I-
it's amazing seeing the heroine see the damage that's inside of the hero
Yeah.
Like once he kind of finds out more about his like actual family life and how he was being treated by his father and his mother, I was like, and like she's the one that champions the relationship in the end. I was like, I can't believe you just did that. Like that just like it just like blew my mind because I was just like, wait, what? How? Like what? I was like, it took. I had like one track in mind. I was like, wait, you just like went a totally different direction. I was like, I did not see that coming.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, because it was so well done. Because like, I think with bully romance is sometimes the main caveat that you can get into is that the hero can be unredeemable based on the things that he does to the heroine. I feel like that's a lot of critique. And in this book, you actually do the work where he does redeem himself in the end. And even then, it's still like it kind of lingers over their relationship, but it's addressed with, and like you said, they look back and they
Yeah.
can kind of really kind of see like what exactly happened. And it's like I just loved it. This was
Oh
like I don't know if that
yeah.
one's a favorite or Medicine Man. I think I might flip flop every single day.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to touch on My Darling Era. I think that's my third favorite.
Oh
It's
yeah.
titled A War Like Ours. Those are
Mhm.
two tied in my mind.
Oh,
How did the My Darling Arrow come about? Like, did you want to do more? Because I think that this is one of your only books that has a character technically in high school.
yeah.
So I was like wondering, did you want to like kind of take on like dating your sister's like ex kind of trope, or did the story kind of start
Oh,
in a different place?
well, every plot that comes into my head has to have like a taboo element. Otherwise, it doesn't interest me. So I was like, oh, I have not done this before, so let me do that. But also, I wanted to do. I've never done like a high school plot,
Mhm.
before. And like, even though my characters are young, like my heroines are usually 18, 19 years old, and my
Mhm.
heroes are like older, but I've never really shown like a high school environment. But I didn't want to do a regular high school because again, that doesn't interest me. So, so I was
I was
like,
like, you would have to set her in a high school where like it's like a basically like a prison.
I know. So I was like, it doesn't interest me. So why not make things harder for myself? So I did. So I read this article about this compound in Texas where the girl who was writing the article, she used to sneak out of that compound at night to go to music concerts. And I was like, oh my god, that is so interesting that today, in this day and age, like there's like, such restrictions that you can't go to a music concert. So I was like, what if I did that in a school setting? But then I was like, well, how would that be believable? I mean, dorms here are just so, laid back. You can
Uh,
come in and go whenever you want to. So I was like, well, what if this is a reform school? Like, there are so many rules and no boys are allowed at all. And, I can have like a group of girls and they can all fall in love and they can all sneak out and break rules and everything. It would be so interesting. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting, but then it wasn't when I was writing it. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do?
you made it so
But
much harder on yourself.
I know. And so she's sneaking out.
Mhm.
And then this guy, he is, he's the coach and he's also the sister's boyfriend. And there's like so many taboo elements. How do I, do it all together? But anyway, it was fun. It was fun. But yeah, that's how. Because normal things don't
Mhm.
interest me for some reason.
Because like you even like restricted the use of cell phones. I was like, dang, like I was like,
I know.
I feel like
That was very interesting to write. It was like there are no cell phones, so it's not as if she can text him, and now she has to go back to this old era thing where she's writing him notes and letters. So I was like, well, yeah, that is interesting. Although it
Mhm.
was sort of hard in the beginning. Like, how does that happen? How do you make that believable? Because in this day and age, as I said, it's not very believable. But anyway, it was fun to write. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the twist that happened, I already kind of like spoiled it in like the second half of the book. I was like,
Yeah.
I did not see that coming because the way the
You could
heroine
not. I thought
talked.
that was very obvious. I don't know.
I'm kind of oblivious. So like unless I'm like actively looking,
Yeah.
I was like okay. I was like why aren't they together? I was like did he just like get in a fight? And like the whole reason behind it, I was like wow. I was like and her actions towards her sister and how the heroine. It's so interesting because the heroine has like these two competing feelings. Like she wants her sister and Arrow to be together, but then she also really likes Arrow. So it's
Yeah.
like you just like ratchet up the like taboo up to like 11,000. It's like it was so interesting being in her head because I was like, oh, like just like you don't even like your sister. Like kick your sister to the curb. I was like, that's why I feel like I kind of enjoyed the sister a little bit because like it's not at the end, not at the end. I was like, oh my goodness, like you're garbage. But I would like to see your romance,
Yeah.
just to see
Yeah.
what
No,
happens. But
she could be an interesting character. Like I feel like every character, they if you look deep into them, they all have some redeeming qualities. You can't all be bad. You need to have some good points in you. But yeah, I definitely think her sister can be good. If I really think about her, yeah. Yeah.
I feel like the sister should have been the one in the reform school, and then our heroine should have been the one out because like the sister was a bad one.
She
The
was.
heroine's like really like a good like she's a good
She
person. I was like,
was.
dang, Saffron got her locked in like this security high school where they have like a textbook of rules,
I
and like you
know.
have Disney times like if you have a cell phone, you're like, oh, you can
I
get
know.
XYZ sanctions. Like, dang, Saffron, like I would not want to have to go to this high school.
I know. That's like this high school is just extra. And I think I like that, the whole dramatic element that, there are like bars on windows, and you have to have like a pass if you want to go out. It has to be signed by a teacher. You can go out whenever you feel like it. There are no cell phones and no personal technology, and you have to use like computers in the computer room. Like, so there's no fun there. Everything fun just goes to die there. So it was fun to think about something like that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's so. I feel like one of the books I really want to pick your head about is Gods and Monsters because
Okay.
that one is probably the most angsty book I have read from you
Yeah, it is.
and the one that like surprised me. Like I was shocked by what happened.
I
There's
know.
a thing with the camera and a thing with a certain studio that happens with the
Yeah,
hero. I was like, wait, what?
I know.
Like, how did that story come into your head? Because like it was,
Um,
I was like, what? I was like, this is just like taboo for you, like on like a level 2000.
I know. I don't know. So again, the plot was that I wanted to write a story where the hero and the heroine, they make sex tapes, because I thought that it would be interesting. But then, you can't write a story based on just plot. Not me. Like I can't do that. So I have to like really think about why they would do something like this, because obviously I would never do this. why? Why would someone do this? So then I thought about, maybe because they had to hide. For the longest time, they had to hide their love. They had to hide who they were. And they couldn't be together because of all the judgment and the prejudice against the guy, like in their small religious town. So now that they were free, you can never be free, by the way, of your upbringing. No matter what people think, you can never be free of that, because you're obviously going to get influenced by how you were brought up. And so I feel like their love started really early, and they were not allowed to love freely. And when they finally got free, like when they run away, they still carried those monsters within them, like whatever happened to them. And since they had to hide, the best revenge was to just show their love to the world. And that's where the sex tapes come in. I know a lot of people find this very objectionable. I totally understand that, but to me, it's my favorite story. Well, now my favorite story is the one that's going to come out in June, but the second favorite is Gods and Monsters, because I feel like it's a very real story. I mean, I don't care if people find it ugly, but it is a very real story because you can never escape your childhood, like how you were brought up. Like you're gonna carry those demons, monsters, whatever inside of you, and a lot of things that we do in life are very much influenced by how we were brought up. Like I don't want to be like my mom, or I don't want to be like my dad, or I want to be like my mom, or I want to be like my dad. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of people don't stop and think about it, but a lot of things that we do in life comes from where we come from. You know, so that's what it was for me, that story, because they had to hide and they were so judged. So now they were in this big city, and now they had a chance to be together, but instead of finding peace within them, they had to go through this whole scandal or whatever. Not scandal, but the whole drama of their own.
Whole drama,
and then they realized that we have to let go of our monsters and demons to be able to live a happy life. And and the heroine, she's smarter, she understands this first.
And then the hero catches.
Yes.
I was just like, when I was reading this, like, this is probably the angstiest. Like, her head was like, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, the angst in this one. I was like, I wasn't prepared. I was like, got monsters. I was like thinking, like, oh, is this gonna be mythology? Like, is Saffron going paranormal on me? Then I read, I'm like, oh no.
This
But I was like,
so far.
when hearing you describe like your reasoning behind it, like when I was reading, I was like, the twist came out like left the second act. I was like, what? I was like, I should have saw it coming, because they do have that scene before they run away where he's taking pictures of her. So like, okay, like now looking back, I was like, okay, I can see that a lot now. But like, I love too how the familial relationships, especially the heroes, can never be resolved because parents are dead. But then for the heroine, hers don't even by the end, are not really fully healed and fully resolved, because her mother is kind of like the religious nut, but then it's also her father that kind of turns her back on her. And so like, I loved how like that wasn't just like automatically sewed up. Like the relationship had consequences for the heroine. And it wasn't just because now that, okay, I'm a spoiler, she has a baby at the end. And so like, even that still doesn't fully like kind of amend things. And like happens like during her small town. I was like, wow. I was like, your parents are a lot.
I know.
I was like, had a memorial and everything. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, this one felt like the most, even like a war like ours is like, I felt it was like darker and emotional. I feel like this one was so much more charged with emotion, just because of like the heroine's age and what they're kind of going through and kind of having to make decisions that they have to make at that time. So like, I felt it so much more. I was like, like I was like, okay, yeah, like I get the emotion, but this one I was like, whew, like I need to take a break after a chapter. I'm like, this is a lot.
I know, and the reason they were so young was because you do stupid things when you're young, right? And that was much more believable to me. Like when I was writing, like an 18-year-old would do something like this because she's angry at her parents, and and she was this girl, she loves this boy, and her parents are just not on board with it, and they're doing everything that they can to keep them apart, and the boy is angry also. So I feel like when you're young, you feel so much when you're young, right? You feel anger so much, you feel love in such an epic way, and so it's so you do things pretty easily when you're young. And I personally love writing characters that are young because they're so much braver than people. Like I was super brave when I was 18. I'm not anymore, but I was brave, and I felt things at on a very, big level. Like I still feel things, and I mean, I feel like if you're an artist, you're super sensitive and you feel a lot of things.
Mhm.
But when I was 18, like 18, 19, I was very impulsive and everything. So I like writing characters with in that age. I feel like they do stupid things, and it makes for great stories.
Yeah, I was like, my old brain is just, I can't, like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, I was like, you better take your butt home and like talk to your parents. I was like, you should have
I
like
know.
said something early on instead of like your father catching you during that very scene that he shouldn't have been
I
caught you
know.
guys on. I understood her, but it still caused me like so much
How
angst
much?
while
Yeah.
reading it. So I was like, I
Yeah.
love that, like when a book can make me emotionally invested like that, where I'm like, where I'm like, whew, I need to take a break from this book because I'm like, it's getting me all of my feels right now.
I
I
know.
want to simultaneously like strangle the heroine, but also give her a hug. And I love that feeling when a book can elicit that reaction from me. And that
Yeah.
one definitely did it. So I was like, okay, Saffron. I was like, this is a book where like just go in blind. I won't tell you the synopsis. Just go in
I
blind and
know.
like just experience the story for yourself.
I know. I know it trips people up, but whatever. I
Yeah,
love
because
it. I love
I thought
reading it.
like mythology, paranormal. I was like, oh, God's monsters. I was like, oh, or is this gonna be like or like a moody like artistry romance where it's just like they're like just like she's the muse. Like I had the whole idea built in my head. And I was like, oh wait, oh no, I was so wrong. Because I
It was
usually
it,
don't like
it
to
was
read too
something else.
much of the synopsis before going in.
Yeah. I know. Yeah,
And
it's something else. Yeah, and a lot of people assume that there's gonna be like, because this is coming of age. Oh, so he's gonna cheat on her, and then they're gonna get separated, and then something like cheating is so easy. Like, cheating is the first thing that comes into people's head when something bad happens. Oh, he must have cheated on her.
cheated.
No, no. Yeah, no. It's not very interesting to write
Mhm,
about, because it's something that people guess right away. So
mhm.
it's not something. Yeah.
And are there any other like taboo like tropes or any kind of taboo subjects that you want to dive into for your next coming books? Like, is there anything that you really are excited about to do?
Well, I think so. My next two, they're gonna be age gap. Next two are gonna be age gap because they're on Saint Mary's. The other girls like
Hmm.
Bronwyn and Poe. So those two are
Okay.
age gap romances. But I really want to do a stepbrother romance. I've never done a stepbrother romance, and that's like what am I doing with my life?
Like, I'm surprised you haven't done one by now.
I know. Like if I write forbidden romances and taboo romances, like, and if I haven't done stepbrother romance, then what am I doing with my life? So that is one thing that I really want to do. But I don't know. I don't know when I will do that. But I really want to do a stepbrother romance. Yes.
Oh, okay. I was supposed to say like we kind of had a little bit of one with the hero's parents in Gods and Monsters because that was
Yes.
what controversy was about. So like, I'm surprised she hasn't done one yet. Like,
I
I feel like
know.
that's
And
like a taboo
surprisingly,
staple. I was like,
I know. Like, what
Saffron,
am I
are
doing?
you are you a true taboo romance author? I was like, I
Well,
haven't gotten
apparently
a
not.
step sibling.
I mean, apparently not, but I would really love to do a stepbrother romance. Yes.
And would there be any other subgenres that you want to jump into in romance, like paranormal?
No, not paranormal. I don't think I can do paranormal subgenre. Oh man, I don't know. I don't think so. Like, maybe. Well, sometimes I think maybe I should do like a suspense thing, but I'm not very good at
Ooh.
suspense. Like, I don't know if I can ever do it. But it could be something that I can look into. But I'm for now I'm really enjoying whatever I'm doing. Like lots of steam and like lots of drama and whatever. So yeah,
It's okay. And if you want to go steamier, that's completely fine. If you want to throw
same
some
here.
mendages a foursome, a fivesome, just like you, or polyamorous, like poly romance, like reverse
Oh
harem.
wow,
Like you can just go there. You can
that's
just
an
go there.
idea.
We all give you permission. I feel like
Okay.
the more that I read romance, like my more my threshold has been raised. I'm like, oh, step age. I'm like, I love it. Or you give me a harem, I'm like, ooh, okay. Like
Okay. Okay. All right.
I think it's time. I think you have a
I
couple.
think
So
it's
I feel you can do it.
well, I would love to do a scene where someone is watching them. That would be very interesting to me. I've never done that. Maybe I can find like a plot where it fits. It fits their personality. Like because
Mhm.
usually my heroes are super possessive and they would never let someone look at
Yeah.
the girl while they're doing it. But if I can find something that would be very interesting to me, like if someone is watching them and it's, I don't know, maybe it happens accidentally or something, I don't know. Yeah,
Hey,
that's interesting.
I'll give you free license. Like you can go there.
Okay.
I will read it. Just let me know. Even if you don't publish it and you're just like, hey, I wrote this like just for you to read. I'm like, okay,
All
thank you.
right. All
I
right.
needed that right now.
Okay. Okay.
But on a little bit unrelated note, but a fun and yet daunting question: what are some of your favorite romance books, or you can say authors?
Oh, Judith McNaught. So I read a lot of historical romances. So I love everything by Judith McNaught. My favorite book by her is Once and Always. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I have read that book so many times, and I still have a copy of it back from my college days, and it's all tattered, but I'm never letting it go. I love it. Um, Other author would be Julie Garwood. She does
Mm-hmm.
historical romances also. Julia Quinn. I think everybody knows Julia Quinn now
Yeah,
after the Netflix series,
after
but
Bridgerton.
yeah, she's been my favorite forever. Like she was one of the first authors that I read back when I started reading romances. So anything by Julia Quinn is great. My favorite by her is Duke and I, the one that was just made into,
Mhm.
yeah, that is my favorite. Um, and actually, so Medicine Man Simon is actually
Mhm.
inspired by the Simon,
Oh, really?
the name of
Just a
the,
name.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So because I love Simon in that, and he was good in the series, but he was just amazing in the book. You should definitely read the book. Um, so yeah, these and who else? Lisa Kleypas. All the historical, like they are like my favorite historical romances. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, not. I can't say I'm a true historical romance fan because I only read like maybe one Julia Quinn, one Lisa Cleave,
Oh
and
no.
like everyone's like, you have to read like older historical romances. I'm like, I read Joanna Lindsay. I think I'm good. I tried one of hers out. Like I think I did that and Amanda Quick. So I was like, that's my that's my old. I have enough new romances to keep me
To read.
afloat
Yeah.
because I'm just like I turn around like you drop another book and then like another favorite author drops a book. I'm like
I know.
I can't read fast enough.
Yeah, no, I feel like those are the romances that really influence my own writing. Like, in the historical romances, heroines are usually young and they're virgins, and the guys are older and like grumpy, and they don't talk a lot, but heroines are like, very cute and, sunshiny. So I get a lot of my influences from the historical romances. And I can see that not a lot of people like them because they can be, the language is different and they can be slightly slower in the beginning before they actually get to the whole action, especially Judith McNaught novels, because they're also written decades, not decades ago, but like years ago, like in the 90s when the trend was slightly different. But yeah, I think I read more historical romances than contemporary romances.
Oh, so does that mean we may get a historical romance from you?
No.
Someone.
I am never gonna do that much research. No, I hate doing research. No, you're only gonna see contemporary romances from me. But yes, a lot of my stuff is influenced by historical romance because I love historical romances. So.
Yeah, I think historical romance has some of the best setups. Like just the rules of the society at the time. Like,
Yes,
if you're alone with this gentleman, you will be
I
ruined.
know there can be so much drama and
It's like
scandal.
so much
I
fun.
love it.
Like, oh, kiss me.
I know. You can't go into the garden with the Duke without a chaperone. And, if you do go, there's going to be a scandal. And now you have to get married. And so this is a marriage of convenience. And so I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I eat it up. Like it's like whenever they do, or when they like a wallflower type romance. I
I
feel
know.
like historical romance too nowadays is becoming a little bit more and more modern in terms of the heroines that you see more and more nowadays. And so I love that. And like I feel like historical romance is like one of those fascinating subgenres where you can contrast like the year it was published and like really see what readers wanted at that time frame. Because
Yes.
a lot of people will lodge against historical romance is like, oh, like the consent. Sometimes in some of the older ones is not really there because it wasn't as big of a discussion at that time
Yeah.
versus like if some books from the 1990s or later were published now, some of those consent issues, romance readers will kind of rip them to shreds.
I
So I
know.
think like romance is like a really great almost zeitgeist for like what readers want in that time
Yeah.
frame. And
Yeah.
just like especially like you guys like you being an indie author, like you guys just some of the books I was like, I almost read more indie than traditionally published, which is like crazy. I never thought I would like hit that balance where
I
I'm
know.
like, oh, 299 KU, okay, okay. Let me check you out. I'm like, oh man,
I
I
know.
don't think I've read a traditional published book in a hot minute.
I know. I know. I know. Yeah.
And then for a fun question, what have been some of your favorite movie/TV shows that you have been enjoying so far this year?
Let's see. Movies. Well, I haven't seen like a movie. I saw Wonder Woman, the second
Oh,
one, 1984. I liked it, but I liked the first one so much better
mhm.
than the second one. So that was the only movie I think that I saw. Oh no, I also saw this other one, this Godzilla versus something that just came
Oh,
out. The two monsters
the
together.
two monsters fighting that one?
Oh, the monkey guy. What is that?
Oh, Kong, King Kong,
King
King
Kong.
Kong.
Kong versus Godzilla. I saw that, and I liked it. I liked it. I mean, it was. I mean, not the plot wise. I mean, there was nothing plot wise there, but it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch. I really liked that. And what shows am I watching? Well, I'm always watching Friends, and I'm always watching Office. I'm always watching Seinfeld all the time. But I saw this. I've recently gotten into British crime shows.
Ooh.
So Line of Duty is one. It's Line of Duty, right? I mean, yeah. So it's about I forget what you call you know how every police internal affairs, so it's
Oh,
it's, it's British internal affairs, so they
mhm.
have this police academy, whatever, the police station or whatever,
Yeah.
and these guys are from the internal affairs and everybody hates them and they're investigating the police, so it's about that Line of Duty.
Ooh.
It's very interesting. And then I saw this other show called Broadchurch. it's
Oh, I heard
it's
of that.
about it is very good. It is so good. um so every season has its own mystery. So
Mhm.
it's about like two cops, and they are cops in this little town of Broadchurch, and they are sort of like investigating crimes there, and it is very interesting. So interesting. I've seen it twice already
Okay.
because I love it. And what else? So yeah, British crime drama.
Mhm.
I've been binge watching that. So yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So good, some good picks in there. Some good
I
picks in there.
know.
Like you're on
You
your
should
British.
watch it.
I need to
Yeah,
watch some of these. I'm like weirdly in like a Spanish TV show because of Netflix.
yeah, I
Like
know, I know. Oh, there's this one crime drama. Who Killed Sarah? I think I see it
I want
trending
to
on
watch
Netflix.
that.
Yeah, it looks so interesting. I know,
Like
I know.
if you want your romancy type Spanish drama, Elite.
Right.
Oh my goodness! Like it's very mature. It's like Riverdale, but then like mature and
Oh,
like characters get killed off.
really? What is it called?
Yeah,
Elite.
Elite.
Elite. Is it? Gotcha.
Hmm.
Okay,
It's
okay. I
it's
will check it
so good.
out. Okay.
It's definitely very mature, but like it's like almost like a murder mystery. So you some seasons you find out you're kind of figuring out the first season you figure out who died, and
Ooh,
then like they slowly reveal it to you, and like I'm surprised like how good the show is. Like
okay.
it's definitely mature. Like I think at one season they have a threesome.
Oh, very interesting. I am in.
Like it goes there, and I was like, I think almost everyone who has watched it, you just get so obsessed and you like adore these characters.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like it's so good. Like I highly, 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 highly recommend it. It definitely,
Gotcha.
so definitely just be wary because like I think it's coming back for two more seasons,
Oh,
but I
yay.
have no idea how they're gonna do it because I feel like they're gonna kill off more characters.
Oh, no. Yeah,
But
okay.
it's really good. Like
Okay.
you will not guess who died and who was the murderer the first season. I did not. I was like,
Oh, wow.
and like some of your
Okay.
heroines, there's a heroine named Carla who's very much like your heroines. Like, oh, she's amazing. Like, oh, so good,
Okay.
so good. You would definitely like it. Like I'm surprised how much I liked it, and now I'm just like, I need all the Spanish language dramas. I'm like, Netflix, what are you doing to me? Now I'm just
Okay.
like watching. Now American TV is not enough for us anymore. Now we're going to British TV.
British
Uh,
and Spanish. Yeah, we want all the exotic stuff. I know.
yeah, and then
Okay.
also, could you tell us about your upcoming release? It's My Gorgeous Villain is
Yeah,
the
of course.
title.
Yeah.
And that
So
is in the My Darling Arrow
yeah. So
universe.
it's the second. It's based on it's Callie's story and
Okay.
Reed, the guy we see in
Mhm.
at the bar in My Darling Arrow. What can I tell you? Let's see. So it's my favorite story that I've written to date, and I was not expecting this story to become my favorite because I usually so far it's been Gods and Monsters because it was like so angsty, and I just loved how complicated everything was for the characters, and it was difficult to write, but it was also fun. But anyway, this one is my favorite now, and the reason is the guy. I don't think I've ever written a hero like Reed, and he is just so dynamic. I think like the his dialogues and his monologues and the way he talks and the way he thinks. Um, I absolutely love him. I love him. I love this character. He was very fun to write, very fun. And I think it's also very intense and passionate. And I think it's because it's a second chance romance. I have never written a second chance romance. This is my
Mhm.
first. So I feel like the characters have such rich history, and because they were in love, and and then they break up, and then they're meeting again. So those feelings, I feel like all of that contributes to uh, their very intense relationship. So I feel like it's a very very intense book, and this book has my most favorite scenes. Like I have so many favorite
Ooh.
scenes from the book. I wish I could talk about them without spoiling the book, but there are so many favorite scenes. Yeah, I could read this book over and over. I love this book. I love it, and
Ooh.
I hope people love it too. But even if they don't, I love it. I absolutely love this book.
The
Yeah.
teasers you have posted and then the cover reel, I'm like, I'm just super hyped for this. Like, I want to read it right now. And I'm
Yay!
so mad. It comes out June 3rd, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
Saffron, give me an arc. I just need to know what happens.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have the prequel of the book, like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever broke them up. It's for free, like on all
Mm-hmm.
retailers. So you people can read it right now, and yeah, and it's coming, and I'm so
Yeah.
excited. And this is like my most favorite book, and I'm sad that I'm never gonna write a book like this. But yeah, I love this book. I love the hero. He is one of the most, not one of the most, the most amazing hero that I've written.
Oh,
Yay.
that is. You're coming from Medicine Man and Bad Boy Blues. Like that's a very high thing to say. I'll be very critical, and if it doesn't, I'll be like, Saffron said this is
No,
her favorite hero. I'm like,
I hope you
clearly
like
she needs to
him.
you need to reread Medicine Man and then change your mind.
But I really hope you like him, because I think he yeah, he's a very dynamic and lovable character, I feel like. And he's also he's an asshole, of course, but he's also a very lovable character, I feel like. And there's a reason why he is the way he is. I mean, I can't write assholes just for the sake of writing them. Like, they have to come from somewhere, like up, like I can't just write an asshole and be like, oh, he's an asshole, but there's no reason for it. I mean, of course there's gonna be a reason for it, because
Yeah.
like, how a character becomes memorable when he's well rounded, when there's a
Mm-hmm.
reason for his actions. That's what I feel like. All the favorite classic characters, they all have been well rounded. And if they're acting like an asshole, there's a reason for that. And that's what Reed is, and that's what all my characters are. Like, if they're acting like an asshole, there's a reason why they're acting that way. I mean, I can't write a character just for writing
Just like
him.
he's
Yeah.
just an ass. Like there's no explanation.
Oh no,
Just
there needs to be some explanation. How are people gonna root for him?
I've seen some
Um,
romances where like sometimes I'm like, you can distract me with Steam, and I'm like, okay, I'll let that go. He's a jerk, but we'll let that go. We'll let that go because the Steam is good.
yeah, I mean, but no, I can't write a story where there's no reason. I mean, there needs to
Mm-hmm.
be a reason for them to act a certain way. Like, how is that gonna be believable if you just make him an asshole just for the
Mm-hmm.
sake of it? I mean, so yeah, I feel like he's a very lovable character. He has his reasons, and he's very yeah, he's a very well-rounded character according to me, and I loved writing him, and he's my favorite hero.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then the golden question, will there be an audio coming? I won't wait
For this,
because I
for
already
this.
pre yeah.
Yes, there is. I have just started the process, but I don't know who's gonna narrate it, because we're doing the auditions now. Like, I've just sent in the audition script, so we'll be choosing the narrators. But yes, there will be an audio, and I don't know when. Like, maybe in a month or two. Like, as long
Mhm.
as the audio takes. But yes, there will be.
Yes. I already
Yay!
pre-ordered my copy because I was like, as soon as I
Thank
saw the
you.
teasers, I was like, I need to read this. Like,
Yay!
this is no brainer. Like, I need to read this. Like, I already have the Medicine Man series to finish out, but like, I need to read this. Like, my gorgeous villain, you give me like the evil villain vibes. Second chance. I was like,
I
I'm
know.
sold. I'm sold. So thank you again, Saffron, so much for
Thanks
coming on
for
my
having me.
channel. It's been such a pleasure having you. And for everyone watching, I'll link all Saffron's social media links down below in the description box, as well as links so you can go purchase all her books. Most of them are RKU and audio, so like you're covered either way. I highly recommend Medicine Man and Bad Boy Blues. But if you want to take Saffron's recommendation, you can go for Gods and Monsters first. But I think my two are like the clear number ones. Just kidding. But thank you again, Saffron, so much for
Thank
coming on
you.
my channel.
Thank you.
And I will catch you guys all with a brand new video. Bye, everyone.
Bye.